We asked Jeff Scott Soto why there's so much drama in rock and roll. I'm John Beaudin from rockhistorymusic.com. Look at some of the top groups in music, musicians whose best input created some of the greatest tunes the world has ever heard. And even though the legacy of their music will live on, sometimes so will the drama. There are so many feuds, where do you start? Ian Gillan, Ritchie Blackmore of Deep Purple, Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons against Ace Frehley and Peter Criss, Dennis DeYoung and the rest of the members of Styx, Axl Rose and Slash of Guns N' Roses, David Gilmour versus Roger Waters of Pink Floyd. There's been a few in the Beach Boys, most notably Mike Love versus Brian Wilson, the Gallagher brothers, Liam and Noel in Oasis, the Davies brothers in the Kinks, Ray and Dave, and more recently in Journey, Neal Schon and Jonathan Cain. And that's a place where Jeff Scott Soto spent some time as a former lead singer of Journey. Music is an emotional job. The songs they create are like children, and parents fight about their children all the time. And we all know emotions are strong motivators, but really when the dust settles, there's usually more than one cockroach in the kitchen. It's not usually one guy who creates all the problems. Well, sometimes it's one guy. I asked Jeff Scott Soto why there's so much drama in rock and roll.
You know what? The bottom line is it's the same exact thing as a marriage. It's like a relationship where when you think about, just put yourself as a 10-year-old and you had a certain fashion sense. You like to wear a certain pair of shorts or a certain kind of T-shirt. When you're 16 or 17, you look at that going, oh my God, I can't believe I used to wear that. I can't believe I thought that was cool. And then when you're 25 and you look at the haircut you had when you were 16, you go, why didn't anybody tell me I look like that? What was I thinking? You go through different phases and changes in your life, and it's no different than this airspace you have to share with people. And so with bands, when you're young and ambitious and you kind of share the same mind space, when you're putting a band together, you get older and you start experimenting and listening to other walks of life, of music. You start listening to things and experimenting on things musically that don't necessarily fit the track of where you guys, when you were sitting here in your garage or your living room putting that band together. So it's only natural that you're not going to want to wear the same sneakers you wore 20, 30 years ago. You're not going to want the same hairstyle you had 20, 30 years ago. And that's exactly how I equate it. When you look upon that, you look at that, oh my God, I have nothing in common with that anymore. That's not where I belong anymore. Not necessarily the music, because the music is now a piece of history. It's a timepiece. But when you look at the individuals you created it with, you might not share that same vision that you had. And that's how I see it. That's the only way I can see it, because otherwise you're right. It doesn't make sense. You know, put all that aside and just make the people happy by putting it together. But I guess some people just can't get past wearing that old T-shirt again.
Jeff Scott Soto has a brand new album coming out November 10th. It's called Retribution. I've been listening to it the last week. It will get you a speeding ticket. And what I like about this album is it's what you expect from Jeff. It touches on metal. It tips its hat to the 80s hair bands. There are 3 ballads on the album, but mostly it's driving music. We're going to talk to Jeff about his time in Journey in the next couple of weeks. I'm John Beaudin. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, share our videos, and comment on our videos. This is Rock History Music.